Everyone in the war room thought she was just another junior officer until the oldest admiral reached for his cane and whispered her classified code name. No one expected the tension in the room to snap so quickly, or that a joke made in arrogance would send a chill through the most secure command center in the fleet. But that was before the general smirked, leaned back in his chair and asked her, "So, Lieutenant, remind me, what's your rank again? Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening." The fluorescent lights hummed softly above them, shaking ever so slightly with the movement of air ducts, as if the entire base sensed a storm brewing. She stood perfectly still, hands behind her back, boots planted, chin lifted, but inside a silent war raged. Should she speak up? Should she stay silent? She had spent a lifetime avoiding the spotlight, especially after the mission that nearly cost her everything. And now, as laughter rippled through the officers, she felt her pulse thrum like a warning drum. But she didn't answer. Not yet. General Rhodes leaned closer, the smugness in his tone cutting the air like a blade. "What's wrong? Cat got your tongue." The room chuckled again, softly at first, then louder when Rhodes waved dismissively toward her uniform. "I mean, look at her. Who wears a plain jacket to a strategic briefing? At least try to look the part." She inhaled slowly, dust, warm air, and the faint metallic scent of the giant digital map glowing behind them. She had hoped this day wouldn't come. She had hoped to serve quietly, unseen among the ranks she once commanded from shadows. She thought she'd never be recognized again. She was wrong. Across the table, Admiral Hoyt shifted in his seat. His hands trembled, just enough for the young cadet beside him to notice. The old man squinted, leaning forward, staring at her face the way veterans stare at ghosts from old battles. General Hoyt rasped, voice thin but sharp, "Do you even know who you're speaking to?" Rhodes rolled his eyes. "An officer who can't follow uniform regulation." Hoyt didn't answer. Instead, he pushed himself up from his chair, gripping his cane so tightly his knuckles whitened. The murmur in the room softened, dying into a brittle quiet. Officers exchanged glances. A young intelligence tech stepped away from her monitors, drawn by the shift in atmosphere, the way sunlight spilled across the floor like a spotlight. Hoyt took one step toward her, then another. Every movement sounded louder than it should. Boots on tile, cane tapping, breath thickening in the stillness. When he finally reached her, he didn't salute. He bowed his head. The room froze. Then, with a voice barely above a whisper, he said her code name, the one no document dared print, the one spoken only in war zones and emergency transmissions. The name belonged to the commander who had led the extraction of an entire battalion during the desert ambush 5 years ago. The commander believed dead. The commander whose classified heroism reshaped the course of the conflict. Rhodes blinked. That's impossible. But the truth was already spreading across the war room like a shockwave. One by one, admirals rose. Their chairs slid back. Their hands lifted to their brows in perfect unison, daylight catching the gold of their insignias, turning the moment into something almost holy. And she, who had once carried the weight of hundreds of lives on her shoulders, stood humbled, breath trembling, fighting the sting behind her eyes. She never wanted recognition. She only wanted to protect the people who still believed in her leadership, even after the world thought she'd vanished. General Rhodes swallowed hard, embarrassment sweeping across his face. "Ma'am, I didn't know." She met his eyes, not with anger, but with an unshakable calm. "Then start learning who protects you," she said softly. "Not everyone wears their story on their chest." Outside the reinforced windows, sunlight flooded the courtyard. Cadets paused mid-step, noticing dozens of high-ranking officers saluting a single woman inside the war room. A ripple of awe spread through them, the kind that changes how people see leadership forever. Because respect, once earned through sacrifice, becomes something deeper than rank. Because true authority isn't worn, it's proven. And sometimes, the quietest soldier in the room is the one who once held the world together. If this story moved you, let me know your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories just like this.